What you'll see today is the two techniques that I'm showing you today are all about what happens when all of the tools I've given you don't work anymore. Okay? This is what happens if factorizing doesn't work. Okay? The first one is called completing the square. Sometimes we've got an expression we can't factorize using the prior four methods that I've taught you. So is there a common factor across all the terms here? Is there a common factor from x squared, 6x, and negative 1? No, because there's no x in negative 1. Is this a difference between two squares, factorization? No, because it's not a square number. Take another square number. Is it a perfect square? Well, 1 is a perfect square, so maybe. This is a square, but the problem is 6 is not 2 times by 1 times by x. So that falls down. Is there a sum and product that I could do for this? What are the only factors of 1? 1 and 1. Is there any way? Is there any magic spell that I could do to get 1 and 1 to add up to 6? There is no way. I can get 2, I could get 0 maybe. So you can see all of those methods have failed. So what do? You can try completing the square. So these are the steps for the completing the square. What I'll do is instead of getting you to get everything down and demonstrate it, I'll demonstrate it as we go. So the step is move the constant term to the side opposite the x terms. So the constant term is negative 1. If I wanted to move that over to the right-hand side, what's the opposite of negative 1? Add 1. So step 1 is x squared plus 6x equals positive 1. That was step 1 done. Shh. If you want to talk, come up here and you can teach it. Yeah. So I just demonstrated step 1. Move the constant term to the side opposite the x terms. Step 2 is the annoying one because it's really wordy. Add the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides. What is the coefficient of just x? What's the number in front of x in our equation right now? 6. So I'm going to add the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides. So half of 6 is what? 3. So I'm going to add the square of 3. 3 squared equals 1 plus 3 squared. That is step 2 being demonstrated. Half of the coefficient of x is 3, and I've squared it, and I've done that on both sides. Step 3, we simplify both sides. X squared plus 6x. There's nothing stopping me working out what 3 squared is. It's 9. And what's 1 plus 9 going to be? 10. What is the point of step 3? This, on the left-hand side, is now a perfect square. Can we confirm? X squared. What is the square root of 9? 3. And is 6 the product of 3 times by x times by 2? It is a perfect square now. So now, step 4, we can factorize the perfect square side. Using perfect squares factorization, it's going to be x plus 3 squared is equal to 10. And then let's call back to your previous lesson. You practiced null factor law. Null factor law tells me that if I've got two things multiplying, to equal something, what is the opposite of squaring something? Square root. So if I'm going to remove the square root, oh no, I haven't removed the square root yet. Sorry, that step is wrong. x plus 3 equals plus or minus root 10. And if I want to get that plus 3 on the left-hand side away, what's the opposite of adding 3 to something? Subtracting 3. So your x is going to be negative 3. Negative 3 plus or minus the root of 10. That's called completing the square. All right? So what I'd like you to do for the 40 minutes, so these just one student now can finish off their tests. Can you just talk a bit quieter? I don't need silence, but talk a bit quieter. Can you work on completing the square for now? I'll get back to you at like 15 minutes before 10, okay?